Hi, welcome to Manas Shil YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Tensura Volume 19. Interlude. The Army of Justice. The Great Tenma War. Fen had announced that he would take care of Daggerul, but Dino was still not satisfied with this. Wait. Hey, are you seriously okay with this, Feldway? If we let Fen go, wouldn't we lose the reason why Daggerul is guarding the Heaven's Tower? The Heaven's Tower was the stairway to the Heavenly Star Palace. Those who did not have the key to open the main gates had no way to enter the Heavenly Star Palace except through the Heaven's Tower. It was Daggerul who guarded it, and his reason for doing so was to keep Fen from being unleashed upon the world. Dino was saying that if Fen were to attack, there would be trouble depending on the outcome. Even though he was under the control of the Ultimate Dominion, Dino's thoughts were free. It would be different if he were under a stronger control, but he could still say what he wanted. Incidentally, the same was also true for Leon. His actions were constrained, but his thoughts remained unchanged. That is why, even in the battle with Sylvia, he was able to minimize the damage by not attacking extensively. In addition to that, he had also sent signals with his eyes, but unfortunately Sylvia did not understand them. It was not because Sylvia was not perceptive enough, but because she had been very busy. However, even if she had been able to understand the signals, the information would have been limited to Leon still has free will, so it wouldn't have been very meaningful anyway. In any case, at the moment, the Ultimate Dominion only restricted his actions, but still allowed him to think freely. For Feldway, however, this was more convenient. He couldn't have a strategy meeting without flexible thinking, so Dino's comment was welcome. That's a good point. So, what do you think we should do to alleviate this anxiety? No, well, I don't know. Dino's momentum dissipated as soon as he was asked the question. He had been so surprised that he spoke up, but when he thought about it, it's not like he'd be at a disadvantage. He was back to his normal self, wondering what he'd even gotten upset about. No, even if you ask me such a difficult question, well, it's not like there's a problem, right? At any rate, as safely as he could, Dino tried to sit down, as if his role was over. But Feldway would not allow it. I believe in Fen, but Dino's concerns are justified. So, I think the best solution for this situation is to send some other people. You were planning to do that all along, Dino thought. Saying it out loud might sound like Feldway didn't trust Fen, so Dino's comment must have been a blessing in disguise. More importantly, in this case, Dino, the speaker, might be forced to participate. Dino's prediction came true. You're worried about it, aren't you, Dino? In that case, you should see for yourself how strong Fen is with your own eyes. No, I'm not. No, don't be shy. You won't be able to have a turn, but if you want to see how strong I am, I won't stop you. He wasn't planning to do that anyway, but now it was too late. Dino gave up and nodded reluctantly. That's true. Then, I guess I'll take your word for it, and participate with Pico and Gracia. What? Hey, Dino. Don't drag us into this. Seriously, I really don't want to. I just had a fight to the death with Ring. Don't you think it's cruel to ask me to fight again? Dino's companions were furious, but Dino ignored them. He figured out that they were probably slacking off anyway, and forcibly involved them to distribute the work. Feldway had no objection to this and approved it. It was true that he trusted Fen, but Daggerul was also a powerful man. He was not to be taken lightly, and Daggerul also had another brother. The story of the three giants who rampaged in ancient times was well known. As someone who knew the truth of that legend, Feldway was prepared to make the best move. Leon, please join them. In addition to Fen, there will be 4 of the 7 angels attacking the Heaven's Tower. I think that should be enough. Thus, the members being dispatched to the next target had been decided. The meeting seemed to be ending, but instead of that, everyone moved on to the next topic. Now, let's determine the next attack point. Isn't it time to go on the offensive? We're planning a simultaneous invasion, taking full advantage of the aggressor's capabilities. Rather, with all due respect to Fen, you're the decoy. Decoy, then who's the real target? Dino was not interested in the mission, but he wanted to ask. He thought it might make himself feel a little better if the other locations sounded more difficult. Besides, if he could successfully meet up with Rimura, he might be able to ingratiate himself with some useful information. Even though it was not in his character, he asked Feldway the question. The first thing I want you to remember is our purpose. That was the answer. Dino wondered what the purpose was. It must have been something ridiculous, like bringing back Valdenava. Of course, Dino would be happy if Valdenava was revived. Doesn't Valdenava-sama have his own reasons? Maybe Feldway became too much trouble for him, or maybe he wanted to back off until the humans had matured. Dino thought that it would be more ignorant for them to make selfish assumptions about Valdenava, the creator and transcendent being. Those who speak for the god are the most troublesome. They can distort your opinion without your permission, when you openly state a different interpretation. It seems that Lumina's had a difficult time with this, and that's why she said she stopped appointing humans as the Pope. Even if they hear the exact same words, there are differences in the perceptions of those who receive them. Because people believe only what they want to believe, they are reluctant to admit when they are wrong. As an actual example, Lumina's had never said that she was the one and only god. Yet, for some reason, her followers had come to believe that Lumina's was the only god. It seemed that this was more convenient for Lumina's, so she did not deny it, but the fact that the truth changed when people intervened in the interpretation of the truth was troublesome if it was handled in the wrong way. After observing the human world for a long time, Dino had come to understand this. And yet, his colleague was setting a bad example, and he felt like giving them a break. Only the Valdora factor remains as a necessary element to revive Valdenava-sama. But there's one more obstacle we mustn't forget. Isn't that right? Is that so? Dino wasn't involved. And yet, Feldway's eyes were on Dino. Whoa, it's me. Give that to someone else. As he looked around, he saw that everyone had kept a serious, blank expression on their faces. Zelario seemed to be holding on to the fact that he was dominated and was ready to ignore Feldway completely. Leon had just arrived and did not seem to be following the conversation, nor did he seem interested in it in the first place. The same went for Fan and Jahal. Fan and Jahal did not know the answer to the question because it was still new to them. Pico and Gracia didn't seem to know either. They were hiding behind Dino, looking down for good luck. The other members of the Seven Angels were not Feldway's friends, but useful pawns. They were not the ones he wanted to ask for opinions, and Dino was the one who had to deal with them. Is this a joke? Because Kigali and Yuki are gone, I'm being put in charge of the thinking. Wait a minute, Dino thought. That should have been Zelario's job. Dino finally realized that he had unwittingly drawn the short straw. But that didn't mean that he could do anything about it. He didn't want people to get their hopes up, so he decided to play along. Do you want to hear about it? He smiled and replied in a suggestive manner. At that, Feldway nodded in satisfaction. I knew it. He's too smart for his own good, and doesn't want the others' opinions. I thought I could make conversation with him if I just praised him. Dino nodded back, thinking it was a good thing. That's right. Dino is correct. We must get rid of this irregularity, Masayuki. In the unlikely event that Rudra is resurrected through Masayuki, there is no guarantee that it won't affect Michael-sama. I didn't say anything, Dino thought, but he was careful not to show it on his face. He nodded his head in agreement. He knew that the logic was warped, but he wasn't so good-natured as to point it out here, so he was inclined to let people do as they pleased. The others were similar, and none of them expressed their opinions. Feldway continued his explanation. Now that Valdora is deep in that troublesome labyrinth, our next target is Masayuki. If we start with that, and reduce their strength one by one, he'll have no choice but to come out of his hole. If he doesn't come out, we'll just cut off his other forces, Feldway said. I'm pretty close with Masayuki, Dino thought, but he wasn't paying attention. He wanted to tell Masayuki that he was being targeted somehow, but he couldn't think of any way to do so now that Michael's control had been strengthened. Even the telepathy net with Rimuru could not be carried out, as this would be a clear act of betrayal. The only thing left to do was to hope for a great coincidence there, but that seemed impossible, so Dino gave up. The only thing left to do was pray that he would get away safely. So, do you know where Masayuki is? That's a good question, Dino. Regarding that, Velzard. Yes. From Velgren's presence, I have a rough idea of his location. There are several locations inside the Empire, and one in the Kingdom of Ingratia, where the girl is responding. The hockey is completely hidden, but my eye cannot be deceived. This was the Frost Dragon Velzard's cognitive ability, equal to or greater than Milim's eye. She had no trouble detecting the presence of her siblings, let alone other people. Velgren appeared to be using parallel existence to fortify the Empire. At the same time, it was assumed that she was also guarding Masayuki. In response to Velzard's comment, Mai manipulated a miniature light spot. Following the west end ruled by Daggerel, the central west area ruled by Luminous changed from a white light to a red light. Feldway pointed to the red light. This means that Masayuki is here, in Ingratia. I will leave it to you to attack there, Vega. What do you think? This was not a question, but an order. He was only saying that to lift Vega's spirits a little. Vega, being a simpleton, did not see it that way. He grinned and nodded happily. Leave it to me. It's a former home, with many hidden passages that no one knows about. I'll sneak in and take care of this Masayuki kid. Feldway nodded. He had planned to let Vega run amok as a diversion, and have Arios kill Masayuki while he was at it, but he wondered if that was possible. Either way, he intended to go to Ingratia's capital himself. Therefore, Feldway decided to let Vega do as he pleased, and watch the enemy's movements. Of course, that was not all. Zelario, you are to lead the entire army to our support. Find out what Luminous is up to, and if she moves, stop her. And if she doesn't, stand by. If I give the order, launch an all-out assault on Ingratia's capital. Understood. Feldway's orders were absolute. Zelario nodded meekly, keeping his frustrations to himself. Currently, Jahal was the only one who hadn't been ordered to do anything yet. There was no way Feldway was going to leave his 3-star commander force idle, so Jahal waited for Feldway's words while preparing himself. Also, let's be careful. Jahal, you're the support. I'll leave you in charge of my subordinates, and you'll do what you can to help Fen. Whoa, isn't that a bit much? I don't think that's necessary. Don't say that, Fen. It's just a precaution. Once you take control of Daggerul, you'll have an army of your own, right? I guess. But as long as Daggerul is alive and well, there will be times when the Titan's army will get in the way. And it's my job to stop them. Yes, it is. Fen boasted that it was unnecessary, but Feldway was correct in this case. As for Jahal, it didn't matter to him either way. If Fen is active, he can just watch him, and if he is in danger, he can sell him a favor. Besides, he didn't even need to be in a hurry to succeed, because the opportunity to play an active role would eventually come. It's a shame that they're not the ones I trained, but it can't be helped. As soon as I see Fen's victory, I'll attack from the west to the center. Do you mind? Sure, do as you like. As soon as he heard that, Jahal went silent, implying that the conversation was over. Jahal was an ambitious man. He owed a debt of gratitude to Feldway, even if it meant doing his bidding. Considering the difference in strength, he thought it would be wise to follow him for the time being. Incidentally, Belzert reported directly to Michael, so Feldway had no authority to give her orders. The current policy was for Feldway to let her do as she pleased. In this way, everyone's roles were defined. Once the plan was settled, Michael spoke up. I have one more thing to say. Regarding the labyrinth in the Demon Lord Remur's domain, it is not a good place to be trapped. I think it would be better to lure them out, as Feldway said. Therefore, I've decided to hand over Demon Lord Milim's sphere of influence, centered on the former Eurzania, to Zelanis. As for the capital of Ingratia and the territories of Milim, Demon Lord Remuru will not be able to ignore any war that breaks out in his land. Be sure to defeat the reinforcements that he will send. If we do, our victory will be unquestionable. Michael's words were full of conviction. In fact, that was the greatest advantage for the aggressors. The destruction of the enemy's forces through individual assaults. Repeatedly doing so would guarantee victory. In addition, once the bases other than the capital Remura were eradicated, the siege formation would be complete. There were many mysteries in Ramrus's labyrinth, and it was possible that there was more than one way in and out, but being able to stop the operations was significant. It may be possible to bring in strategic supplies, but once separated from the world, it would be easy to reduce their influence. However, since the ultimate goal was to capture Valdor's dragon factor, they couldn't simply wait and see. That being the case, Michael decided that it would be best to bring the situation to that point, and then slowly devise a strategy. This may have been the right strategy, but Dino was not convinced. Whoa, Milim is the daughter of Veldanava-sama, you know. Do you understand that? He complained, as if expressing his indignation. But Michael remained aloof. Are there any problems? He asked Dino, his cool expression still intact. Are there any problems? No, I'm just wondering if it's going to result in Veldanava-sama's displeasure. That was a natural question from Dino's point of view. It would be an act of betrayal to Veldanava to touch Milim. So, what was Michael thinking? However, Michael's reaction was very calm, and he seemed to think that there was no problem at all. The same was true of Feldway. Dino, I am aware. Demon Lord Milim is the daughter of Veldanava-sama, however, she is no different from us, in that she was created by him. There was doubt of that being Michael and Feldway's true thoughts. Their respect and loyalty seemed to be directed only to Veldanava, with not even a shred of affection for his daughter. Jahal seemed to agree, sniffing and scowling at Dino with a mocking gaze. Having been destroyed by Milim's wrath in the past, he was feeling a sense of pleasure at the Eurzania invasion operation. Dino's opinion, which might interfere with it, was not interesting to Jahal either. Hey now, this is why a bear betrayed us. They really have a bad way of thinking. Dino thought to himself as he looked back at Feldway. If he didn't do something, he would be branded a traitor. Feldway spoke to Dino. Don't worry, Dino. If my actions are wrong, then he will come back to correct them. If his beloved daughter is in danger, he will surely come to her aid. That is why my actions are correct. Now that he had said that, there was nothing left for Dino to say. His old friend was dead. If only he had realized this sooner, he would have been able to escape. Dino regretted it even now. And so, the outline of the Tenma Great War was decided and carried out. And on that day, the world was thrown into a whirlpool of chaos by a great calamity that would drastically change the course of the world. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.